Visit betmgm.co.uk or download the app. 18 plus. Gambleaware.org.
It's that time that Sean Martin comes along and gives us all a bit of a shot in the arm, because BetMGM have a lot to do with this show these days. Sean, good morning to you, mate. Where are we at? Chelsea 2, Arsenal 3, and 3 derbies in the Premier League this weekend. So a lot to get through.
Morning, chaps. Chelsea did make a bit of a fist of it in the end, but my Chelsea supporting colleague Jordan that I mentioned yesterday, he came away essentially just saying, Arsenal are just a better team at the moment. He wasn't best pleased when we then pointed out that next up, technically, they are once again playing the better team in a West London derby with Brentford. Bookies got Brentford all wrong pre-season, lads, to be fair. We had them 4th favourites for relegation. Instead, Keith Andrews has them 5th, so 3 spots higher than Chelsea. Chelsea, no league wins in 5. Brentford won 4 of the last 5 in the league.
Amazing.
It is at the Bridge though, so Chelsea 4-6 favourites, which means, to be fair, massive odds on both Brentford, who are 4-1, or the draw, which is 3-1. Obviously, that's not the only derby at the weekend, as you say. There's 3 of them. Another London one with West Ham going to Spurs. Big one for both of those, given West Ham's league position and Tottenham's general form. Spurs 7-10 favourites for that, and like the other London derby, it's 3-1 for a draw, and then just under 4s for a West Ham win. Also can't move on from the weekend derby chat without mentioning the Manchester one, really, Jim. Again, it's around about the 3-1 mark for a draw. In that, United 13-5 underdogs in Michael Carrick's first game back in caretaker charge, even though it's at home, with City odds on at 23-25. Loads of injuries, quite a few draws lately too from Manchester City, but you've got to say justified favourites at Old Trafford, wouldn't you say, lads?
What do you think? You were tuned into what Sean was saying there. So.
I wasn't actually. I will tune back in now. What do I think? Man City favourites against Man United? Of course they are.
Do you take City to ruin the Carrick?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately there'll be a different atmosphere inside the stadium. But the fans weren't against Amorim, so they've not got relief because Amorim's gone out the door.
Right.
So they haven't got this celebratory mood and this new feeling of revolutionary fervour. Yeah. They're resigned, and if the Glazers are in a building, there'll be even darker cloud over the bloody place.
What about West Ham Spurs? Who's it a bigger game for, Nuno or Thomas?
Well, it's a big game for both of them. I mean, he needs to win games. And so does Thomas Frank. Thomas Frank is catching shrapnel left, right and centre. You can't get beat at home by West Ham. You're going to catch right in the face if you get beat at home by West Ham. You know, it's bad enough that they've gotten drawn at home with Wolves and other sides during the course of this unfruitful period of time that Thomas Frank is going through. So they need, I mean, does it get him the sack? I think it really starts to escalate the questions about him.
What if West Ham win at Tottenham?
Does it get him the sack?
He's in that territory.
I don't think he's got the allies in the building that he had once before. I've said this before. I think the allies of Paratici and Daniel Levy have gone. I think he's isolated. I think the new ownership model isn't touchy-feely with him. I think he will be in great jeopardy if he loses games like West Ham. Whereas Nuno Espirito Santo, despite the profferings of wonderful information from your little agent mate that tells me that Nuno Espirito should be sacked, and he's told his little mate Dave, I don't see what they get better than Nuno Espirito Santo. Even if they lose to Spurs, I don't think it's existential jeopardy for Nuno.
Sean, honestly, I played him a recorded message that I got from an agent the other day. You know what Simon thinks of agents?
Wretched little
and during a commercial break, Sean, I don't know why I'm saying this, I played Simon the recording. And of course, he's listened to every word, and he hasn't forgotten every word that was said. And this individual in particular
is particularly odious.
Is wretched. Oh, honestly. Sean, take us on to a higher level of conversation. Do you want to give us something on the Bahrain Darts Masters?
I do, yeah. So first off, it's the first of this year's World Series events, guys. It's become kind of the jumping off point for the season over the past couple of years. Gives folk an early look at how major players are shaping up after usually a post-World Championship break, and ahead of both the Masters and the start of the BetMGM Premier League, of course. It's got 8 top PDC players and 8 Asian representatives, and 6 of our Premier League contingent are in action. You've got Littler, Humphreys, Price, Van Veen, Van Gerwen and Stephen Bunting, who is the defending champion, and 22-1 to retain that title. Probably 22-1 because he's in Luke Littler's half of the draw. Unsurprisingly, Littler's the 10-11 favourite. Won this 2 years ago and hit the youngest televised 9-darter at it as well. Gets underway this evening from around about 4 p.m. UK time. Gerben Price kicks it off against Motomu Sakai, who proved quite popular during the World Japanese Player. And later on, guys, 73-year-old Paul Lim, legend of the game, takes on 18-year-old world champion Luke Littler. So yeah, full steam ahead with the darts again from now, really.
Wild, isn't it? 73-year-old against an 18-year-old. Dalton Smith is going to be joining us. World champion Dalton Smith joining us in the final hour here in studio. Do you want to look back in his performance for us, Sean?
Yeah, I mean, just a general observation. Like, fifth round stoppage, Subriel Mateus. Simon, you did mention to me last week points would probably be difficult and he would likely need to stop him. He did stop him. The odds were around 4.5 to 1 for that. As I'm sometimes prone to doing, I went a wee bit heart as much as head with it and said I felt there was just something about a Sheffield boy going to New York same weekend that the Naz film came out. Not been too many Brits, we touched on a couple last week, but not been too many Brits who not only go over and win or defend a title in the US, but do it by stoppage as well, which I think was particularly impressive.
Yeah.
Naz was mentioned when me and the guy spoke about it earlier in the week. Obviously, he was defending a title against
Lloyd
Kevin
Hannigan
Kelly back in '97
against Cobra Curry in 1986. So I went to that fight, in Atlantic City.
Yeah, I mean, it was with the Naz one. It was his US debut, which kind of things it up there, balances it up there. Dalton Smith's profile clearly not as large or prevalent with the general public here, which I think is fair to say. But that
division,
is one of the best results by a Brit in
like,
the US over the past couple of decades, isn't it?
Well, look at it. Like welterweights never get it. Josh Taylor never got it. Josh Taylor was a fabulous fighter, and he got put on marginal TV platforms, never got really shown, and he was a four belt world champion, and he got no traction. So it's the weight class. But Dalton's done fabulous. A great win. Well deserved, and we'll speak to him in a minute when he comes on the show.
Speak to him very shortly.
Just as an aside, Simon, or either of you really, have you managed to watch that?
I've watched it,
film? Yeah, at all.
Yeah, I watched bits of it. I mean, I saw him going on about Brendan Ingle. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's why I was wondering. Because I've seen Johnny Nelson and a couple of others not very happy about the.
Well, they wouldn't be, would they? Because he was incredibly disparaging about Brendan, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I've not watched it yet. It's on my watch list. I'm looking forward to it. But
I'll have a look at that. Presuming... Sean. Yeah, we'll have a look at that. And Sean, the mighty Celtic won.
I wondered if that would get thrown in, Jim, to be fair. Not particularly brilliant, and Falkirk did play well, as I suspected they would. I talked them up yesterday to you guys, maybe partly to get myself a wee bit of defensive in, but yeah, they were good enough. It's good enough at this point to grind out wins and not slip to draws or losses, really. Kind of results that the cliche is wins your title. So let's see. Hearts, I thought were maybe going to slip up when I saw they had a man sent off first half, but fair play, they rose to it and get another win. So it's basically as you were, I suppose, and no games this weekend because it's the Scottish Cup, of course.
Of course. Sean, thank you very much indeed. Visit betmgm.co.uk or download the app. 18+, begambleaware.org.